Welcome to the Besties in the Books podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Ashley, and today is our very special mini episode number 3 for book 3 of Twilight, which is Eclipse.
Wow.
We're here. We're doing it. Wow, book 3 already. Man, it's been cozy and spooky and Halloween season here, so we're really in the vibes and the feels for Twilight. It's working out nicely, I gotta say.
I can't even believe, I was thinking about it, and I was like, wow, already book 3. It feels like we just started this, and, we're about to start the last book. Technically not, because there's all the spin-off books, but we're not reading those for this mini episode series,
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, wow, that's crazy that we're about to embark on the final book in the original series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unlike Harry Potter, we're watching all the movies concurrently to the books. So Harry Potter, we waited till the end. That was a kiss of death because we didn't finish them.
Kiss of death.
You know, because we'll have our fifth.
It wasn't the only kiss of death.
It wasn't the only kiss of death. It was, yeah. You have to watch the video to see. But, we have to do that 5th episode covering the movies, which are just so wonderful. I gotta say, I've got a bigger appreciation for them now.
So much more.
Yeah.
So much more.
Yeah.
We won't get into too much about it because
yeah.
we have a whole episode where we're just going to wrap up the series and talk about the movies.
Yeah. And our final thoughts for the books, everything. It's going to be great.
Yeah. But, me too. I was telling my husband that last night. I was like, I like these so much more than I did originally when I watched them. It's just a completely different experience.
I feel like it's kind of... Twilight in and of itself has taken on a new kitschy sort of, it's not underground because it's very mainstream, but it just has taken on a new thing with so many memes and reels and everything. And to have that, the book nostalgia with it too now, connecting the dots and it's good. It's good stuff.
Well, it's funny because it's what I was expecting to happen with Harry Potter is happening with Twilight.
Yeah.
And didn't happen for me, or I think you, with Harry Potter. We were hoping to, be absorbed into this fandom and, really feel a part of it and, feel, this nostalgia with it and this, connection. And, at least for me, speaking for myself, none of that happened with Harry Potter. I was fine to just, let it go and move on.
Yeah.
But with Twilight, unless something goes terribly wrong in book 4.
Yeah.
It's looking like it's going to be a free and clear to, every year I'm going to watch the Twilight movies around Halloween time. Yeah. Thanksgiving time. It's just going to be added. I might do rereads in the future. You know what I mean? It's that's the level that I'm enjoying it at.
It's going well. Going well so far. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, for anyone who's new here, even though that would be a little weird because this is mini episode 3, maybe go watch mini episode 1 and 2 first. Yeah. But hey, whatever. If you want to start with 3 because this is your favorite book or something, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is our first time reading these books ever. So, we watched the movies originally when they came out, but we have not ever read these books until now. So this is all just our new organic thoughts coming at you on how we feel about, the characters, the plots of these books. And we're just really excited to share it with you. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a deep dive today into Eclipse, book 3. I've got some thoughts specifically about this book I'm excited to share with you all and Ashley because it frustrated me a lot.
Yeah. Little sneak peek there. Some frustration happening. I mean, those who read it know, I'm sure they agree. So we'll hash it out here, you guys.
Yeah, and if you guys, want more of our, in real time, step-by-step thoughts, too, you can follow us over at Besties in the Book Club on Fable. We've got Fables going for all the books, and then over, on our Instagram at Besties in the Books podcast, we post little, reading updates. Mm-hmm. So you guys can see, where we're at, and if you want to share your thoughts on, whatever we have going on over there. So,
totally.
But yeah, before we get into any more of that, we just want to say thank you so much for being here.
Dude, thank you so much for being here, you guys, taking time out of your day and your book to come hang out with us, come chit chat, come hear our thoughts on Twilight and everything else that we talk about under the sun. Like we said, these are our mini bonus episodes that are releasing every Friday for the series. We're kind of aiming for once a quarter for a different, you know, some kind of nostalgia type of book. Some we've read, some we haven't.
Like something canon, like something
Yeah.
that like was pivotal in the, you know, fantasy romance
Yeah.
spaces.
Kind of more young adults for the most
yeah.
part. Not forever, but like right now, that's kind of what we've been focusing on.
Yeah, like things in the fantasy genre that perhaps we didn't read.
Yeah.
When we were younger, for whatever reason. Yeah.
For whatever reason. Like mommy saying no. Can't do it. And now we're going to do it.
Yeah. And now
Or
we're
we
gonna
didn't got
do it.
time.
Yeah.
Like for Twilight, we just didn't even, it wasn't on our radar necessarily when it came out. So make sure you subscribe is kind of what I'm getting at. Make sure you subscribe, follow, like anywhere you like to listen to your favorite podcasts, including YouTube, because we are there with some visual aids and some fun hand movements, and you can just feel like you're chilling with us. So make sure you subscribe there and hang out with us over on Instagram and TikTok at Bessie's in the Books Podcast. We're that everywhere. Just search for that and you'll find wherever we are. We'll be there. We'll be there for you.
Everywhere.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. With Twilight and Edward lingering in the corners.
Being
creepy. Okay, so we do like to start with our spoiler-free one-sentence reviews and star rating.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll let you guys know once we get into spoilers if that's not something that you want to listen to right now. But right now, still spoiler-free. So why don't you just... I guess I'm supposed to go first today, so I'll just do it.
Okay.
So... I'm like, I was going to ask you, but hey, I'll just go. Okay. My thoughts on Eclipse by Stephenie Meyer, Book 3 in the Twilight Saga. I thoroughly enjoyed Book 3. Where I got frustrated was I felt like the majority of this book is about the love triangle between Jacob and Edward and Bella, and Jacob's character really bothered me, and so I had a hard time getting over that. But otherwise, I really enjoyed the book, and so therefore I give it 4 stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's how I feel about it.
Good. All right. I am 4 stars as well because it was entertaining. It was a bit of a roller coaster of my feelings toward the characters. It was very up and down. And I was never bored, so I liked it.
No.
It's not going to stay with me. That's why it's not 4 stars, but it wasn't boring like a 3 stars, you know, so that's what I'm happy with. 4.
You
So
mean 5 stars. That's why I didn't get 5.
Yeah, sorry. All good.
That's why, you know, that's the same thing. I'm kind of waiting, like I'm hoping that this last book is a 5-star for me because I'm really loving them, but like not to the life-changing point.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, but I would really love to be able to give that last book, you know, a 5-star. So we'll see.
You'll have to tune in and see what we feel finally, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, okay. Should we get into our spoiler section?
Yep, we should. Rock! I'm a werewolf. Yeah. That means spoilers are coming. That's a crazy sound.
I have a werewolf.
Oh my gosh, my gong! I gotta go get my gong. Please hold. All right, I got the gong for you. We're prepared.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going into the spoiler section. We're going to be starting off with our 5-sentence summary of Eclipse, Book 3. Here we go. Pull it up. All right. I imparted a little bit of my own opinions into this too this time. I had to. Okay. Eclipse is 629 pages of an angsty love triangle between Edward, a century-old possessive vampire, Jacob, a baby werewolf with serious toxic, manipulative tendencies, and Bella, our 18-year-old FMC who is madly in love with Edward and kinda in love with Jacob, sort of.
1.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was pretty good. You too.
I feel like that one sounded great. Okay. All right. The Colons have voted to turn Bella into a vampire after graduation, but Edward will only do it himself if she marries him first, even though Bella has explicitly stated that she doesn't want to get married right out of high school. However, she concedes because she wants to have sex, and if she marries Edward, he'll try to have sex with her in her human form before turning her.
2.
I love the, like, flick of the wrist. The perfect little...
I'm trying to figure out the perfect gong motion, you know? I'm not classically trained, so...
Classically trained. I know. We have to hire someone.
Sorry, I can't make it to dinner. I'm going to gong training.
Yeah. Okay. Victoria and her quote-unquote army of baby vampires she is making in Seattle are hunting Bella in order to avenge Edward killing James, who she was in love with.
3.
That one had some, like, little aftershocks. Okay. The wolves and vampires form a tenuous alliance in order to protect Bella and take down Victoria and her vampire army by using Bella's scent as bait and luring them into a battle that they ultimately prevail in, although Jacob is severely injured, but does recover.
Yeah. 4. Very good.
Jacob forces Bella into not 1, but 2 kisses against her will in order to convince her that she's in love with him. She ultimately realizes she does have love for him, but not like what she shares with Edward, and tells him she's moving forward with the wedding, and he agrees to let her go.
5. That's a wrap.
5. Yep.
That's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote. This one was pretty easy, I feel like, to write a summary for, because there wasn't a whole lot of action going on, I feel, in this book.
Well, I mean, I thought there was some action, but it was all pretty much the same action. I don't know.
Yeah, it was like Victoria's coming for her, and they have to figure out a way to, like, not make that happen, and then it's basically just, like, back and forth with, like...
And kind of, like, preparing for battle. Drama. Yeah, a lot of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, why don't we just get into it? Why don't you tell me what your favorite and least favorite parts were?
Okay. Well, so my favorite part was basically when Edward figured out that he was being a controlling dummy. So I did appreciate the character arc because he was really pissing me off at the beginning. I was like, this controlling psycho in a not fun way, you know? He's just being annoying and overly protective in a way that was just, you know, like judging Jacob. And I understand he's like a new wolf and he sees what happens to that one girl and stuff. And he's figuring out how to control himself. But it's like, I just hate it when the women are coddled when they've already seen and been through so much that it's like, Jacob's not going to hurt her. It's fine. You know, I know it's like hundreds of years of, you know,
like
rivalry between the wolves and vampires, but it was just annoying. So my favorite part was him like coming back from wherever he did and realizing, you need to go see Jacob. I'm sorry. I'm being an idiot. And just the way he handled everything from then on out with Jacob was commendable. Them kissing, he's just like, yeah, he's an idiot. He knows it's a non-issue. Like he knows that Bella's
he's acting like he's 100 instead of 17.
Which I really do appreciate. 100 in a good way.
Same.
Like in a fae, 500 years old. This is a girl that needs to make sure. And also kind of make sure I'm the one. So like I really appreciate that change of perspective that he had. So there you go. My least favorite part, I'll just say them both, imprinting. That whole thing is really gross. The 2-year-old thing, the imprinting, I mean, it's the imprinting when they're older is sad. Like it's sad what happened to Leah and I really like her. But like, okay, you know, that's kind of, we deal with that with fae fantasy and stuff all the time with the mating bond.
Like fated mates,
when they're imprinting on children that they see them, like, whereas, okay, we talked about this on our trip about Rhys-San going to Court of Thorns and Roses. Well, hang on. We talked about this. A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'll try to keep it spoiler free, but someone is a fated mate to someone else where they knew when they were born, but they didn't know them. So like, to me, it's creepier that this guy that Jacob's talking about saw the 2-year-old and is imprinting on her. And that whole thing with, he says, you know, I'll be her protector, then I'll be her friend, I'll be whatever she needs, and when the time comes, I'll be her lover. Like, no, like it's a weird,
so
creepy dynamic, and then that girl's autonomy is taken away. So, I mean, there's obviously with fated mates, there's a whole category that we could talk about with that. But the fact that they see them being raised as a baby is super gross. So I really cringe and screamed out loud when I would get to those parts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned it's only going to get worse with that from here on out.
Yeah, I'm concerned it's foreshadowing and setting up. So
yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
I mean, we've watched the movies. We know.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
We
But I'm
know.
pretty sure I know what happens, and I'm really it's kind of like reading it because you don't find out about it in the third movie, but like you read except with Leah, but you're reading about it, and it's so much worse. Like it's almost like they know they need to justify it for the future, but it's still no. I don't
very
feel better.
creepy. It's
I
very
feel worse.
like
yeah.
Yeah, well, it's
Lover?
grooming adjacent.
If they said
it's
it was like literally, I'll just be your protector, like forever, but you can marry whoever you want, and you don't. But the fact that they said that, no, I'm out.
Yeah.
So, what about you? What was your favorite and least favorite parts?
Well, it's funny. My favorite part was Edward's evolution from possessive to rational. That's what I put. Yeah.
It's good.
Because I've always liked Edward. I like him a lot more moving forward into like the later books. Like, I just feel like because his character is, it's evolving.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's a good character arc. I'm appreciating his growth. And yeah, just like not letting Jacob get under his skin, like letting Bella work things out on her own and figure it out. And, he doesn't like watching her go through this pain of like essentially having to choose, but he's also not like making her choose. He's like, you got to figure this out.
Gotta respect that.
So yeah, and I feel like he just handled it very well. And so, yeah, I really appreciated that. I'd say that was my favorite part of this book for sure. My least favorite part, and this is just, I can't get over it, and I think it truly probably ruined Jacob's character for me for the rest of the series, is Jacob kissing Bella the first time was... I did not like watching it in the movie, but it was even worse reading about it.
Yeah.
Because it was, she even said, like, I would categorize, that wasn't a kiss to me, that was assault. Like, she says that in the book. And it's like, yeah, it was. Like, the way that it was written was very much like he was forcing himself on her in, like, a violent way, because he's a lot stronger than she is, obviously. And so I really disliked that. And then when he goes and does it again.
Yes. Like when the movie presents it as she's trying to figure things out. So they knew it was a problem by the time they got to the movie. Because it's like the movie kind of presenting is, let me just test this one more time. But no, reading her inner monologue while he's kissing her that second time was scary. Like, oh my gosh, this poor girl. Like, no. And then she almost like falls into it though, which felt manipulative too. Like, And then he even says like he wanted to make sure that you knew that I loved, he was happy with that result.
Well, but the first time he just straight up just like kisses her, like just out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Just goes crazy and just kisses her and like basically holds her there. The second time he coerces her into engaging in that kiss with him because he explicitly basically says, well, if you don't kiss me to see if you're in love with me or not, then I'm just going to go off and die.
Which is psychotic. Okay, listen, if anybody's out there in a relationship where the person's threatening to kill themselves if you leave, please get help. I don't mean to get on a soapbox right now, but that is such a red flag. Truly. It's so scary. I know many people that have been in those situations and it doesn't get better and they'll use other things. And it's just like it was really scary to read that for her, and she falls for it and it's so sad.
Well, and it's like, also... what makes you think that he really has your well-being at the forefront of his mind if he's willing to do that kind of stuff to manipulate you?
Right.
That's obviously your best interest is not at the forefront of his mind. Right. His best interest is at the forefront of his mind. Yeah. Like, and she's young.
He's very 16. I mean, not all 16-year-olds are doing stuff like that, but he's making some stupid idiot boy decisions, if not worse. Big time. My gosh.
With real implications, like in real life, that would be a big like problem. Big no-no.
Yeah, and really I think
bad.
if you haven't read the books in a while and you're thinking, well, Edward kind of was doing some of that. No, he does. He says that like there won't be a reason for me to live anymore if you die, but if you're with Jacob, like that's fine. Like he wanted to go. He even explains to Jacob later, which I also commend him for having that big conversation with him about he wanted her to not pick him. And he would just go, he would always love her, but he would just let her move on with his life. Where Jacob wanted to kill him, and Edward's like, no, like I want what's best for her. Yeah. If she picks you, I want what's best for you. That's so mature and healthy, and Jacob is not. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think it's different too from a vampire's perspective who's already lived a full, overly full human life. So it's like for him, it's like if I can't be with my one true love, I've already lived a full life.
Yeah.
I've already lived my life. You know, whereas like, yeah, Jacob's 16 or 17 or whatever at this point, and he's literally like, well, if you don't kiss me because, you know, you won't admit that you love me, then I'm just going to go die. And it's basically you're going to have to live with that.
Which it's like, come on. Which we know he wouldn't. It's just an empty threat. Like, he's just trying to manipulate her. It's so gross.
Yeah.
So gross.
So that was definitely, I have a part 2 to this part that I didn't like. Okay. So that really made me detest, not just dislike, but detest Jacob to the point where I'm like, I don't understand why anyone likes him. Why is it a Edward versus Jacob debate?
In the fandom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and this is coming from me, someone who I read a lot of dark romance. I really, you know, am into problematic men who do bad things. Okay. This is different though. It's completely, it reads completely different.
Yeah.
Because it's not in the context. It's not in the right context for that to where it would be something desirable. Does that make sense? It's like we're not reading a dark romance where, you know, the FMC is into X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
We're reading a young adult book where the FMC is just trying to sort through her feelings, and this guy is manipulating her in a really damaging way. And so it's completely, in my opinion, different. So anyway, so that's a side tangent. But the thing that really made me mad too is that Charlie, who I've never liked Charlie.
Oh my gosh, yes. Are you going to talk about it?
Yeah.
What he
about
says?
How he basically is like, oh, well, don't worry about, like, basically, like, acts like they're just part of, like, a boys club, like, whatever, like, laugh. She tells her dad, I broke my hand.
She literally comes
Jacob
in with a broken hand. And he's, like, fist bumping Jacob. Like, good boy.
Yeah, gross.
Way to go. He, like, said something. I wish I wrote it down.
I mean.
But, like, he said literally, not literally, but along the lines of, good job. Way to go, buddy. Not like, let me comfort my daughter, not punching him in the face.
Yeah,
if my dad
why
was
are you
like
not
that,
punching Jacob in the face?
like, that is so unacceptable. Like,
so unacceptable.
And
he even
everybody
says,
knows
like,
she's with Edward. It just, ooh, big ick.
Well, and that doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter if she didn't want it.
She didn't want it so much so that she punched him in the face. And you're going to fit. Yeah. You already know she has a broken hand over this, and you're going to fist bump him. Like, okay, he didn't literally fist bump. But yeah, it's like that along those lines.
It's like the same thing. Yeah, yeah. And he even says, too, like, oh, well, you know, maybe we should teach you how to punch for next time Jacob tries to kiss you. Ha, ha, ha. Remember? Like, we should teach you how to defend yourself.
Yeah, that was like later, though. Like, the next whatever day or something that he meant think about it. Oh,
but he didn't mean it like that. He meant it like jokingly is how I read it. Like, oh yeah, we'll teach you how to defend yourself for next time Jacob tries to kiss you. Okay. Like basically like not taking her seriously. I was like, okay, that's the kiss of death for Charlie as well. Goodbye. You're dead to me.
Yeah, I hope that young women and men that read this will see the issues in that, because they are real, like, representations of real people, because there are people like that, obviously. So it's good to have these types of characters in books to bring attention to the fact that that is messed up.
Yeah. To show you how you should not be treated.
Yeah, I hope.
Yeah.
Not like...
I hope so, too.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So those are my most favorite and least favorite parts. What about your most favorite, least favorite characters?
So favorite character, you know, again, nobody ever like really sticks out to me, but I did like Alice. I always like her, but she stood out a little bit more in this one. That's debatable. She stands out a lot, but I just thought that she did a good job towards the end. She could have stuck up for Bella a little bit more with Edward's weirdness at the very beginning. But she just tried her best. But she's like jumping on into the wedding, and she's being cute, and she's sweet, and she just seems like a really good friend. So I'm going to just give it to her. Kind of a consolation favorite.
I agree, though. I like her, too.
And then least favorite character. I had originally put Jasper only because, like, I don't care. He's dull and creepy, and I don't care about him. And I think that was filler. Honestly, because
like his story like finding out where he came from.
I mean, I know you find out a little about the baby vampires, but like, I don't know how helpful that really is. I don't know. Yeah. So really the main one, which we've talked a lot about now, is Jacob, because he's an a-hole, and he is a-hole boy making rash decisions. I don't even think he deserves the idiot title, because his is more comes with more implications of manipulation and possessiveness, and I don't like them.
Just like delusion, like complete delusion.
Yeah, I mean, at some parts, like, I could look past his immaturity until it comes to this area, you know, the kissing without any kind of signs that that's what she wants, and the way he is talking to her, and yeah, so I'm done with him.
Yeah.
What about you?
So yeah, my favorite character was Edward for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Like I said, I've liked him this whole time, but I feel like he graduated into a more like evolved, mature version of himself in this book.
Yeah, like now you could tell he's 100 years old in a not creepy way.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, totally. So I like that. He's for sure my favorite character. I'm just like, I am a high school girl excited to get this wedding on the road. I like the show on the road. Like, let's do this. Like, I'm so excited to start this next book because I'm like, I just want to read about their honeymoon, like, and just fall into the romance part of it. I love it. Jacob is my least favorite character for sure, with Charlie trailing behind as a close second. Yeah, like Jacob, I cannot stand him, and I felt sorry for him in the beginning because I was like, well, she is stringing him along.
Yeah.
She is definitely like using him as like a backup or filler or whatever. And that's not fair to do to him, but that doesn't give him permission to do the things that he's done. So therefore, he is my least favorite character.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fair and valid. So, like you said, it's crazy that was crazy. We could talk about this more in the wrap-up episode, but I feel like that had a lot to do with the age, you know, of the fandom when it was originally Jacob versus Edward. You know? I'd be interested to hear some perspective on that. Like, not realizing the red flags, obviously, because there's a lot of walking red flags in high schools everywhere across America and the world, you know, that you're young too. So you're not realizing this is messed up because you're being manipulated.
Yeah. Well, not just high school though, either.
I mean,
That's what I think is,
Yeah. But specifically regarding this situation specifically, but yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But if they're like, oh, you know, like they're seeing depictions of what, you know, an ideal boyfriend or husband would be, and they're thinking Jacob is it, like, no, that's not it.
Not yet, so unless he figures out that he's making a lot of mistakes and matures, you know.
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see where that goes, which we kind of already sort of know, but not
I don't know. I don't know how that one goes.
How did this book make you feel? Like what feelings did it leave you with?
About the first 50%, and maybe sprinkled throughout the last 50%, I felt very ragey. I would like visceral reactions in this book, which I hadn't had yet, which I don't necessarily mind. I want a book that makes me feel something. So even though we hate all these things, it's important to have dynamic characters. It's important to see flawed characters and interactions. And so therefore, I was still entertained.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about that. What about you?
Totally. I wouldn't go so far as to say ragey for me. It was more like, it was just like a smooth and steady kind of ride for me where I was like, okay, this is more about like character development. It's like, that's what's happening here. And then anytime something would happen with Jacob that would piss me off, then I would get ragey. So it would just be like little spurts of like, oh my God, this guy. Oh my God, this guy. He's terrible. And then we'd go back to like the story and I'd be like enjoying the story and I'd be like, oh God, I wish he would just like go away or like figure it out. I don't know. So, yeah, but overall, I feel like this book had less, like, cozy vibes like the other books did. And because it was more, like, about the characters. Because the scene has already kind of been set. Like, we don't need to reiterate all that. Like, we're getting into, like, how the dynamics are happening and how, like, the alliance between the wolves and, you know, the vampires is happening and stuff, too. So, I liked that. I feel like I feel satisfied by it. I felt like I enjoyed it. And it only made me mildly ragey whenever we would talk about Jacob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
So what about like unanswered questions going into the next one or like anything?
Not like anything that like would bug me. Like I know we're going to get more answers later. Like I want to know what's going to happen with Vittori because obviously we're setting up for something dramatic with that.
Yeah.
I feel in some way. And then I want Jacob to get his S together, but
We'll see.
I don't know. What about you?
Unanswered questions. I mean, I'm still not quite, like, I would like to know, like, why Bella is special. Because we still don't really know.
Yes.
So there's that unanswered question that I'm interested to find out about. Like, why don't the things work on her, right? Why can't Edward hear her, etc.? So
all the vampires with their special powers
don't affect her.
But then why can Alice see her future?
Right. Exactly.
So.
And she is affected also by Jasper's power of, like, manipulating
That's interesting,
emotions.
but then, like, the Vittori wasn't. So I wonder, is that a plot hole, or will we find the answer?
Yeah. So, but that's not frustrating to me. It's just something I'm wondering.
Yeah. It's not frustrating yet.
Yeah.
We'll let you know in the next episode.
Yeah. Also, you know, something that, as someone who likes reading romance, is interested in is, like, okay, how are they going to make this doing it work?
Yeah.
You know, that is a legitimate question that I have, and I'm curious to find out about. Because right now, she is a human still, and he is a vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have to see about that. But yeah, nothing about, like, the ending was so, like, was frustratingly cliffhangery. It was just good. It was like, okay, now we're done. We're moving on to the next one. It's going to be good. We'll see what happens.
Jacob was still being angsty and stupid. That's for sure.
I'd be like, you literally...
But then he like, it kind of made it better for him when Edward told him to come to the wedding. So that was kind of good.
That was
like he's having to swallow this large pill that, like, oh, I need to be a better man. You know?
That was very gentlemanly. I will say I appreciate
He is a gentleman.
Yeah, he's a gentleman. And a scholar. Yeah.
Throw it on me.
I was like, wow, that's nice. Like, that he sent Jacob that invitation and wrote that little note personally to himself, you know, to him.
Yeah.
It was like, Bella didn't want to hurt you by sending this, but I know that if it were me, I would want to make my own decision. So here you go.
Yeah.
What a guy.
He's like, he wants to hate him, but these little things keep happening where Jacob's like, fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which that would make it frustrating, but Edward's just taking the high ground. Every time. You know, that's what you got to do. So... Would you say that you're excited to start reading the next one?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Me too.
Wrap it up. Let's go.
I'm excited. I think I've decided for sure I'm going to read Midnight Sun, so I'll read that after we're done with the saga too. I'm curious to read everything from Edward's perspective. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm pumped to read this. I'm like, let's see what happens in the final chapter. Mm-hmm.
Let's just make a little treat here for people listening with their ears. Liz and I are going to be reading cringy Thanksgiving reads. So we're going to read those real quick because they're super short and sweet, and then we'll be doing an episode for that. So I'm excited to read Breaking Dawn, but I'm going to read those really quick and then get back to Breaking Dawn.
Yeah.
But you guys,
just a little nugget.
They're something.
They are something.
They're really something.
I started because they're two like little short novellas, and so I started the first one last night, and boy, oh boy,
the trigger warnings alone. What have I done?
I know. I read the trigger warning on the first one and texted a picture of it to Ashley last night. I was like, what are we doing? What's happening? Oh, man. But it's going to be really good.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
And
then, I'll probably tomorrow we'll dive into, what's the last one called? I forget.
Breaking Dawn?
Yeah. So then I'll dive into that. So, do you have any notable quotes from Eclipse? If not, I have a bunch.
Just one. I know you will because you love the romantic aspect, and I'm like, maybe in the next one I'll feel better though, since Edward finally grew on me.
Yeah,
like, I finally understand his character better. I think he had a good character arc. But so the only one that I wrote down was where I think Emmett says, "Fall down again, Bella," and she says, "No, I punched a werewolf in the face." That's just how I imagine her saying it. Like, ugh.
Yep.
Because everybody knows she's clumsy, and she's like, ugh. Yep.
Yes.
That's it. What do you got?
That's funny. I mean, that's one of the reasons I do love those like one-liners that like Bella gives. She's been like so good this whole time. Oh, there's another. This is something. This is not.
I like her. Other than the Jacob thing, I like her.
I like her a lot. I feel like the Jacob
She might be a bad judge of character, but I like her.
I don't think she's a bad judge of character. I think she's 18 and trying to figure it out.
I think she's 18. Yeah, I think she's young.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that was another thing that icked me out about Jacob, actually, is he sometimes will call her, like, honey, I think it is. Did you notice that? I think he did it twice.
No, I didn't notice it. Gross.
I think he did it twice, and I was like, ugh, oh no, this is terrible. Yeah. So
pet
anyway.
names and whatever those things are called will oftentimes give me the ick.
You know, it depends on the delivery for me. And just with Jacob, it was like, no way. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Okay, so in response, this was one of my favorite little quips from Edward, because here's the thing. It's like, I feel like at this point, Edward is like the good amount of possessive. And so after he finds out what Jacob did with the kiss, he says, Edward continued as if he hadn't heard me. And if you ever kiss her again, I'll break your jaw for her, he promised, his voice still gentle and velvet and deadly. And I'm like, see, those are the moments we live for. Yep.
That's what's like more threatening than screaming and yelling, but being like deep and serious and quiet.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. And then I loved this quote. And I realized that I'd been wrong all along about the magnets. It had not been Edward and Jacob that I'd been trying to force together. It was the two parts of myself, Edward's Bella and Jacob's Bella, but they could not exist together, and I never should have tried. And I liked that because it's like still she's defining herself in relation to like a boy or a man or whatever you want to call him at this point. Like she's saying Jacob's Bella or Edward's Bella, which to me means that she is still in the process of figuring out her own autonomy. And basically like not defining herself based on the guy that she's with. And so I like that because it's showing she's making progress, but she's still not there yet. Like Bella's still really young. Yeah. And then of course there was like the quote within a quote, if all else perished and he remained, I should still continue to be. And if all else remained and he were annihilated, the universe would turn to a mighty stranger. I was like, that's such a classic line. And I love that they quoted it here. So yeah, those were a few of my favorite quotes from this book. But truly, I think I don't even know. I annotated a lot in this one because I felt like there was a lot of, just a lot of good things that especially Edward said.
Oh, I love that for you.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a fun Twilight fact of the day.
Ooh, let's go.
Okay, let me pull it up. So you know how like the covers of all the books have like different whatever, like random stuff on the front?
Yeah.
Like there's like a chess piece and like, I don't know, like whatever. Okay, so this one has a ribbon. Eclipse has a ribbon on it. And so, I found this online, like we always say, like, I don't know if this is true, but this is what the interwebs say. Okay, so the broken the broken ribbon represents choice, as in the book Bella must choose between her love for Edward Cullen and her friendship with Jacob Black. Meyer also stated that the ribbon represents the idea that Bella can't break away completely from her human life. I was like, that's cool. I really like appreciate like symbolism. So it's like literally like she's being torn between these like two, you know, you could even say like versions of herself, two worlds, like all that kind of stuff. Two guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I always wondered what's up with all the different things on the books. They don't feel connected, but there must be a reason, and you just showed that with the ribbon. At least I gotta go look up the other ones now.
I didn't look up I'm like I didn't look up the other ones, but now it made me curious.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, now I'm curious. Yeah. So there we go. There we go, guys. There's Eclipse for you, wrapped up in a nice, neat little ribbon, if you will. Those are our thoughts, opinions, final answers. There you go.
Yeah.
Any other last words you want to say?
I'm just trying to
think. Feel good?
Like, yeah, I mean, I feel good. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, I think that, you know, what we were really hoping to accomplish with Harry Potter and not being part of that is like totally what's happening with me in Twilight right now. I'm all in. I'm enjoying it. I'm wanting the last book to be a 5-star read. We'll see how that goes. But 4-star, I mean, even 4 stars
even
for
if it's
books,
a 4-star series, that's but even if the series end up being still 4 stars, that just means you're entertained. And I dare to say, maybe it's the age you read them that doesn't make it life-changing 5 stars.
Yeah.
So
if I would have read this,
we'll dissect all that.
If I would have read this when it came out,
yeah,
easily,
it would have been a totally different story. And that's who they're written for. So we'll have to definitely keep that in mind. We'll talk about it more in the final wrap-up video because I think it's important to digest all that, because we did that with Harry Potter. Like, what would I do? What would I rate it back then?
Yep.
So There we go. There you go, you guys. Well, make sure to like, follow, subscribe anywhere you like to listen to your favorite podcasts. That way you don't miss out on our future episodes, which is next week going to be book number 4. Final book. And then following week will be our wrap up movies and overall thoughts and opinions on the entire series, fandom, everything. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And every Tuesday we're posting our regular book episodes. So Besties in the Books podcast, where you can find us everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, all those things. Make sure to follow, like, and subscribe everywhere. Please do it. Yeah. Come hang out. We appreciate it. All right, you guys.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
See ya.
And Friday.
Bye.